Let's see. I can confirm that I'm still not in the thumbnail.
All right, we should be live.
Waiting for it to auto.
Yeah.
Got the delay coming in.
A little bit of a delay, about 20 seconds, 30 seconds.
Usually, usually it's about 20 seconds.
Yep. So good morning to everyone that is in the YouTube chat. Let me know how the audio is.
I can confirm that I'm still not in the thumbnail. See, I can confirm that I'm still
All
not in the
right,
thumbnail.
we should be live. Okay. All right, we should be live. And I just monitored the desktop sound.
Coming in.
A little bit of a delay.
Well, I'm glad somebody's
20
monitoring
seconds, 30
us.
seconds.
Usually, usually it's about 20 seconds.
Yep.
Hello.
So good morning to everyone that is in the YouTube chat. Let me know how the audio is.
I can confirm that I'm still not in the thumbnail. See, I can confirm that I'm still
All
not in
right,
the
we
thumbnail.
should be live. Okay. I've got some annoying feedback here. And I just
coming through Standys.
No, it was me.
Well,
I
there
got
we go.
it.
Now it's not.
Yeah. I just had to get creative there with a
Okay.
kill a process that was out of control.
Everybody that's in the chat right now, I need you all to tell us if you managed to actually remember to update your systems today.
Why would they update today?
Because if they didn't update today, they might as well update their system while I'm still reminding them.
True.
Yeah.
I update sometimes 3 or 4 times a day.
I guess it's all right updating while you're watching a stream. It's not a good idea to update while you're doing the stream, though. So I'm going to decline on that.
Wow.
I have been told that my
Woohoo.
microphone is too loud, so let me quickly fix that.
Well, I think we've got it all set up. The sound. Yeah, Big Pod in the chat says got no email. I tried to send you an email, Big Pod. I had that same problem last month. You're not getting emails from me for some reason, and I don't know why.
It's all right. I never get any emails from you either.
Well, I don't have your email address, Josh, so that would be the reason.
I get Patreon emails. That's all I get.
Yeah. But for some reason, I just cannot send Big Pod anything. So what have you guys been up to here in the last few weeks as far as Linux and free and open source software?
Well,
I pushed 47 package updates to Solus.
I've
Well, that's
been working on a open source Portal 2D game. I think it's cool, and a bit on my language.
Yep.
I can parse a bit more now.
I had Steam kill the latest Steam update kill my BattleNet program. Yep.
Is there still a lot of players on BattleNet?
Well, I mean, I'm not really playing right now. I let my WoW subscription expire, but I do plan on running Diablo 4 because it's really a sweet game.
Yeah, because I remember, 15 to 20 years ago when everybody was playing WoW, and obviously, like that was the cool kids game. But I don't know what Blizzard is doing these days to maintain that kind of popularity, or if it's
Basically nothing.
nothing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they just
WoW Classic.
They have good
about
games.
as far as they got.
They do have good games. Yeah, whoever said that. Yeah, I like.
I did. Just got the email.
Yeah, that was the third time I sent it. I don't know. The first 2 times it came back, could not deliver. Yeah.
Yeah. They actually have pretty good games, and what's more important, in like a month or 2, a new game is coming out, Diablo 4, and that should be a big wave of players back. And I can't wait.
Yeah,
honestly.
Diablo 4 is when I'm going to start playing again, but since Steam broke I was basically piggybacking with an old crossover set up into Steam so I could play BattleNet through Steam because crossover and Arch didn't want to cooperate. So there's a new version of crossover coming out here soon, and I'm hoping it'll fix a lot of the stuff, or a Steam update will.
Proton works great. I use Proton and it works amazing.
Oh no, I use Proton, but I was using Proton and everything was working fine until this latest Steam update, and it just
Maybe select a different version of Proton.
I might. I've been using the 8.0, but I might go and check and see if GE's got a newer version.
It might just be an Intel Arc thing, but I found that like in this last Steam update, like the Steam client itself plus all the games just magically work better when you're logged into a Wayland session than Xorg.
They should. They should. Games should in theory work better on Wayland than on Xorg. Like, all of them. No matter what it is, it should work better.
No.
Just a minute, hit that. It's the truth. Xorg is dead.
And if you really want to have even better experience, install GameScope.
Install what?
The GameScope.
GameScope.
Heard of it.
That's the Wayland compiler guys at
It's the
what's
SteamOS Wayland compositor.
The way Valve made, and it's
Oh, yeah,
makes
I
even
remember.
better performance.
Doesn't it add support for like HDR?
I don't know.
I think there was something about this. Of
Wouldn't be surprised.
Valve working on that.
Wouldn't be surprised.
I did get thrashed by DT and OAD the other day, so that was fun.
Yeah, that was fun. I actually hadn't played Zero AD in a few weeks until the other night. So
I was just amazed how good the graphics were. I mean, I had no idea.
it gets better with each release. Yeah, it's like they make minor little improvements that are barely noticeable between each release, but like if you compare it from a few years ago, if it's been a while since you've seen the game, yeah, it's crazy how good that game's become.
What are you talking about? Religious fecal matter?
Who are you talking to there?
Ben, he said, "Holy crap!"
Oh, okay.
So I just twisted it around.
That's all right. Hey, Derek.
Hey, Ben. Yeah, don't worry, Ben. You probably didn't get me demonetized with that one.
No, it's fine. I'll try my best not to say anything worse.
All right.
Because I know Derek's picky about that.
Very.
Yeah.
It's all right. I spent about half my morning telling people to stop enabling screen shares in Jitsi.
Yeah. Now.
Well, that's actually much more dangerous than the language.
Yeah. Well, by the way, Derek,
because people can show practically anything, right?
By the way, Derek, speaking of insane stuff, I've recently started my May version of StormOS, and also I decided to follow your Arch ISO video doing that because I was using the ABS build script from Zero Linux, and that didn't exactly go very well, so I decided to use your tutorial for that instead. So, yeah.
No, his scripts probably just automate some of the process.
Automates that
you're right.
stuff. Yeah. So.
And to be honest, I mean, the Arch ISO itself is basically a script. It's an install script to install Arch.
Yeah,
is all it is.
Doing,
right.
Yeah.
I mean, all of it is a script. It's just how much do you want to
mine's pretty much
automate it.
Arch with Calamares on it, and a theme, and all that kind of thing.
Yeah. And are you still building Storm off of Manjaro?
No.
Okay.
I never built it from Manjaro. It's all I'm doing is I'm using Pamac from them, and that's about it.
Okay, yeah, because I know Manjaro, there's an issue with it with the Arch ISO
because
they don't actually package it. They're like it's not in their repositories.
We're not using that. No.
Yeah.
But and also in other news, I am building an LFS version at the moment.
Nice.
Yeah,
I know Josh will be excited about that.
Yeah,
he loves building things from source. So
yeah, we were
messing around with Gentoo on Raspberry Pi, and I did very briefly attempt to install Quake 3 on LFS on that same Raspberry Pi. But of course, I've only got a single SD card that's been in deployment use on that Raspberry Pi for about a year now. So I don't know how much life that SD card has left, and I don't know if it can actually stay in compiling.
Yeah, Gentoo has killed a many SD cards.
It certainly has.
Yeah, I was trying to walk them through how to install Gentoo on a Pi, which I personally have never done, but it did not.
There's a reason. Well, most people have never done it.
Honestly, it's probably better to do it the proper way rather than cheating with an image.
Yeah.
Yeah, Darth Vader in the chat, he was mentioning he broke his Arch Linux, so he installed Gentoo. It's like, that's one direction. Like, usually when people break a rolling release, they're like, oh, all right, I'm going back to Debian. But he's like, you know what? I'm just going to switch to a different rolling release.
I did that as well, basically. I switched from Void to Gentoo.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I've had some good luck with Tumbleweed recently with not having an issue updating.
Yep. How is Tumbleweed as far as the speed at which it rolls? Is it pretty
every few weeks or so? I think there's.
If you watch, there's like a blog post where there's a Tumbleweed developer that actually just like talks about all the things that were packaged up in Tumbleweed and give insights as to what's going to be coming up next in the update pipeline.
Yeah.
He posts it like every week on the OpenSUSE subreddit.
Yeah. And in the chat, Steven Gamer says, DT switch to Ubuntu. I have used Ubuntu for like 15, 16 years, dog. Like I've got plenty of machines that run Ubuntu. I've run Ubuntu on my main machine for years and years. I run Ubuntu on all my servers. Like there's nothing to switch to. I know Ubuntu. Know it quite well.
Yeah. Honestly, I'm quite happy with how much Ubuntu rolls. It isn't as rolling as some arches.
Yeah, you don't want new packages on day one, is what I was saying.
You really don't. Yeah. That's like asking for shit to break.
Well, see, the cool thing about Tumbleweed is you can run the updater, but not update the system. You know, you can update some of the packages, but then you have to run the dupe command to actually make it go to the next Tumbleweed release. So that's kind of nice.
Yeah. Derek, I know I'm probably going to be shooting needle in a haystack by asking you this, but if you had any tips for me on building my own, and I mean my own awesome config versus, a pre-made one, what would your advice be? I know you're not a Lua expert, but I just want to inquire about that.
Awesome.
Really?
The commas.
Yeah.
Embrace the commas.
I would just work with whatever you've already got from
what we did before.
Yeah, and just modify it to modify that script instead of starting with like a base config.
Build,
yeah, because it's going to be missing so much stuff.
So much crap.
Yeah. So I just work with the one you've got.
Okay, I'll just.
Because you can change anything.
Yeah, I'll just do that
in that existing config. Yeah. You don't want to have to start all over because then you got to add all the key bindings you already said.
Yeah, that's
and all
going to
that.
be insanity.
Yeah. And really, chances are the things that you want to change are just going to be, it's going to be a really small amount of lines of code.
If there's an error code, it's because you accidentally deleted a comma or you've put one too many commas in place.
Something else.
Yeah.
Or you forgot to close a table. Because Lua is all about tables.
Yeah.
The only thing that really confuses me, because I don't spend that much time in Lua, it takes me a while to get used to it again, is the concatenation with the 2 periods. It's like, that's just weird.
Yeah.
That's strange.
Yeah, that's effed up. Yeah.
Why not a plus sign like every other normal language?
Yeah. And something else I did in the XFCE version of StormOS was I added KWin as a compositor.
KWin and XFCE?
Yeah. It's a thing.
I did it. There is actually a guy in the what do you call it? The Endeavor OS dev group who actually did that.
There was a short time in Debian testing where the LXQT installation would actually ship with KWin.
What the frick?
Yeah.
Well, LXQT has that option as it always kind of.
That's weird. Yeah,
Well, it's a
Kevin
cube-based
is
desktop.
one of the options.
Yeah.
And it was, as far as I know, it was actually thought about that it would actually use Kevin as a main one.
Because I remember like 4 years ago that certain distros had the option when you installed LXQt, you could either choose OpenBox or Kwin, depending on what you wanted to.
Yeah, and I think Debian's stable right now. If you install LXQT on it, it sets up XFWM rather than OpenBox. I'm not 100% certain off the
That's
top
weird.
of my head.
Now that's a little weird.
Yeah.
That's a little strange.
Well, somebody thought it was a good idea because OpenBox is depreciated, even though there's been no reason to update OpenBox in the past 12 years.
Yeah, but
Flux box.
I mean, OpenBox is kind of feature complete, though. I mean, what are you like the people that complain about old programs that don't see much activity anymore? I mean, OpenBox is a floating window manager, and it pretty much does what a floating window manager should do. It floats windows.
Yep.
Like I understand, like if System D all of a sudden stopped seeing updates or commits, like I'd be worried. Or if the kernel saw less development, I'd be worried. I don't worry about things like OpenBox or some random command line program that because I've just seen command line programs that I've installed before from the AUR. I remember one I installed that the last update was 22 years ago. I forget what it was. I think it had something to do with when I was doing my Gopher videos a few years ago.
Oh, yeah.
The Gopher server that I installed had not seen an update in more than 2 decades. I still installed it to that server, by the way, because I was like, well, why not? I mean, I'm not going to find a modern Gopher. So that was...
that was a cool video when you did that in the... What was it, Gemini? I think you covered as well around.
Yeah, now Gemini, is a much more modern protocol than Gopher.
Is the Gemini site still up?
No, because I couldn't really maintain it and the Gopher site and my website because it was every time I'd have to go update something, I'd have to update 3 different websites. I tried to automate the process a little bit, but it was a little clunky. So I got rid of the Gopher site and the Gemini site. I just took all that down.
To be honest, it's just like, what security vulnerabilities are you worried about off of the Gopher protocol anyway?
Right. I mean, I don't know what they could do with it. I mean, all it does is display plain text. Like,
yeah, I mean, it does it, and it does it really well.
Yeah. I don't know if they could ever execute anything on the server through Gopher, but
it's like kind of the old HTML, just the plain HTML. I mean, there's really no security vulnerability,
Well, not until you added JavaScript, and then, yeah.
Technically, there is chance to execute.
Yeah.
Code, even if it isn't, you isn't running any code on server, you can technically still do that. It's
right.
Complex mess of server stuff. I sometimes have to deal with, or I did have to deal with. I'm not anymore in security space.
No.
I'm currently out of job, so...
Yeah, so you can be as insecure as you want, and you don't have to feel bad about it.
Yep. Well, I am looking for a job, so... I will
you and me both, Big Pod.
Need be.
Yeah, I need to get out and get a job as well, because money's tight these days. Things just... I keep thinking things are going to eventually turn around as far as the U.S. economy and things, and it's just, I don't know, for the last year and a half especially, things have just been going steadily downhill.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
I've been hearing that all over the place.
Yep.
There's podcasters that talk about where their ad revenue has taken basically a nosedive for them.
Yeah.
So...
And some creators have gone to managing their own stores and stuff like that instead of...
You almost have to. The podcasters have it especially bad because there's really, like, if you do audio only podcasting, you're pretty much putting all your eggs in one basket as far as you've got to be on Apple and Google, like iTunes and whatever, and the Google story is for the
podcast.
I mean that's where you have to be, and you just get paid whatever you get paid. Hopefully you have some sponsorships, but probably a lot of people, especially smaller companies that would sponsor podcasts, they don't have as much capital to spend on that kind of stuff.
Well, yeah, I mean, a lot of the media companies have been laying people off, and not
Right.
only that, but there's been a rash of discontinuances of having a corporate sponsor for podcasts. So.
Yeah.
Well, that and a lot of these companies that have been sponsoring the podcast too have also just outright folded because it turns out that all their money was made off of venture capital, and this is a period of the economy where it's just like you're either making a profit or you're closing shop.
Yeah.
I think
Bad choices were made.
I think the WAN show is one of the few podcasts. Well, I guess it's a video podcast, but one of the few podcasts like that that's like maintained its revenue from sponsorships. Because I guess Linus is like reach out to like the community to like his amount of viewership, but I've noticed that the WAN show consistently has sponsors every single week, and it's not been diminishing at all. And it's a lot of the same sponsors too.
Well, they've hit critical mass. So.
Yeah, it's because of
They're running almost 6,000 viewers while they're
and
6,000 viewers on a single platform. They're streaming to multiple platforms. And how many subscribers do they have on Flipplane? Last I heard was like almost 50,000 at this point.
On Flipplane, I'm not sure. I know on YouTube it's like 20 million or something like that. I think they're nearing 20 million.
And normally, if you actually watch the numbers of Van show, it is sometimes close to 10,000. Of course, sponsors will line up to pay for a spotter because just live is 10,000.
Well, it's a little different once you reach a certain size, right?
Yeah.
Like Joe Rogan's never going to have a problem, with his podcast. Like, I mean,
It's the name Linus Tech Tips. Of course, they're gonna pay him money just to picture them.
Yeah.
Well, Josh made a good point as far as like a lot of the smaller companies trying to get started with these venture capital. I've noticed. You remember a couple of years ago when the economy was getting a little better after COVID, and a lot of new companies were starting up. You saw all these IPOs. Remember, we had all this talk about maybe Canonical would do an IPO, and that was coming soon. And it's like now nobody talks about anybody doing an IPO because who in the hell would start a company right now? Who would put up all of that money and go public, knowing the stock market is tanking right now? Like nobody's going to do that right now.
Yeah. We're all hoping that by the end of the year it will stabilize. And
I think Reddit was actually looking to IPO.
Who?
Now
Reddit.
Yeah.
They screwed themselves in the foot on that one.
Yeah, they kind of did. But they're also like getting all kinds of newfound income because apparently Reddit is a very good source for training AI models.
I could see.
I think
Reddit.
Michael Reeves proved that with his Wall Street Bets AI.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I could see Reddit being sold, to a larger company like Microsoft or Meta or something like. But I don't know.
Reddit's interesting because I feel like, like 5 years ago or 6 years ago, Reddit was kind of like a niche website that not a lot of people knew about. But they've like recently started ramping up a lot of their public advertising, and there's a lot of people joining from like non-niche stuff on Reddit. Maybe it was just my perception that Reddit was niche, but I don't know. It just always felt like Reddit was niche, and then just like
in the early days it was. They did a lot of unique stuff.
Yeah.
Well,
around the start of the pandemic, a lot of people joined Reddit, and
Well, yeah, I mean, a lot of the people that were dissatisfied with Dig went to Reddit. If anybody remembers that.
Oh God, man, it's been a long time since I heard about Dig.
Yeah, so a lot of people were jumping ship.
When it was started, man. God.
Yeah, they were jumping ship from Dig to go to Reddit.
Yeah, I remember Dig from 20 years ago.
Well, I mean, I got involved in that through interacting with the screensavers on TV with Leo Laporte and them.
Yep.
That was back when I still had a MySpace page.
Yeah. Yeah, before
I think-
Justin Timberlake bought it.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Man,
Yeah.
I still got all my music through Napster back then. And there was a lot of good technology back then.
Yep.
I mean, MySpace is still around.
Yeah, I mean, technically Napster is still around, but I don't know what it does anymore.
I think they've actually become a legitimate streaming site now.
Mhm.
Like, yeah, I think you can like pay to stream music on them. I think last I heard.
Yeah.
And Winamp is turning into like a Spotify. So
Yeah.
now. I don't know.
Yeah, it's similar to Spotify where you pay
Yeah,
them.
here we go.
Yeah.
Napster plans, individual $10.99 a month.
$11 a month just to listen to music all day.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's kind of what you do with something like Pandora or some of these other.
I would never pay that much. The only reason why I pay for Spotify is because I'm a college student, and so I get the college student discount, and it's like $3 a month or something. It's like crazy cheap.
I don't know. I just download my music from YouTube Music and then just play it on Winamp.
Yeah, the problem with cell phones these days, like these modern Android devices, they don't really focus on allowing you to have a local library of music. It's all about the streaming. When you open Google Music, it's all about streaming music.
Yeah.
They don't care about managing a local library.
Hold on.
Thankfully, there is a
Hold on.
for it.
There's a false truth that was just mentioned. Google Music is in the graveyard. It's now YouTube Music.
Yeah.
Well, whatever it is. Yeah, I mean, whatever they renamed it.
Google Music, whichever one you want to call it, it's actually a streaming service. Of course, it's going to be that. But you have many players that can do your own music. It's not by default installed because nobody uses that.
I actually remember the day they made that kind of big change, and this was a few years ago, because I remember I did an update of Android on my cell phone at the time. And the new app popped up, and it told me, yeah, we're not really interested in your local music anymore. If you want to stream, here's the subscription service, pay this, and now you can listen to. I was like,
that's when I quit. If I couldn't download it directly to my computer, then
It's the iTunes model. It's kind of like what Apple does with iTunes. They kind of lock you in to their proprietary format of
iTunes still lets you buy music on their store and permanently. Actually, I don't think. Can you still buy music now, or does it just show you the music that you have bought?
Not sure.
I think you still can buy.
I haven't used iTunes in so long, I couldn't tell you what it looks like now.
I mean,
My question is, does it let you download the music?
I
Like,
only
to a local file.
No, it saves it as like a DRM protected thing. I only reason why I use iTunes is because I still carry a 4th gen iPod Nano. So so I've got to put music on it somehow.
One
I
thing
don't
I
understand.
need to say is that the whole idea of that this is all about locking you into a model with the whole streaming service is actually not not true. What the point of streaming services is, first of all, it's make money, of course, that's logical. It is to pay the creators, of course, because they need to get paid. But the third thing, which is really the main thing, is for what it is for users. For users, it's a simple way to get music. For them, going through and whether it be downloading music from YouTube, which is illegal, first of all, in most countries, or ripping it off CD, which is technically still illegal, and uploading onto your phone, it is a certain barrier of entry. So, yeah, they used to do it because there was no other way. Now there's a way.
There's a barrier to entry, but I think most people have some kind of cloud syncing service on their phone. Like even people that are not techie.
I was gonna say this earlier. I recently played around with a couple of music servers that use the Subsonic API with an Android app called Symphonized. I think I tried LMS, Lightweight Music Server, the regular old Subsonic, and then a couple of others, and that worked really well. Just for like building your own streaming platform that you can stream from your.
Great. Tell that to your to that coworker that only knows how to press the power button on their computer. Tell them to set up that.
It was nicer because I had a VPS, the server that I was running it on, that had unlimited bandwidth. And so I could cache the music that I wanted on my phone at any given time without having to have my entire like 500 gigabyte, music library of MP3s sitting on my phone at any given time.
Explain that to that person who only knows how to press the power button. Yet they listen to their music on their phone, and for them the experience.
Well,
I pay €5 for YouTube Premium, and I have all my music for free. No ads on YouTube on my phone.
No, you make a good point. I mean, the kind of stuff he's talking about. I mean, any of us could set up a server and stream from a server to any device. Yeah, but that's not something grandma's going to do. That's not something, right? That's not something.
And a lot of people listen to music who don't know anything about how their phones work, how to set up a server, how to even do anything more complex than search internet.
And a lot of these modern phones, if you got a modern Android, and especially the modern iPhones, unlocking those things so you can do what you want to do with them. It's not something most people are going to be able to do.
Actually, Samsung and Knox is it's so bad.
Yep, I have a Samsung phone.
I have an S22 and I hate it so much.
You can get around it easy. I just don't want to because one, it destroys warranty. Two, it really gets you nowhere. Like it's so much people like you should root your phone. I did root my phone a couple of years ago. Honestly, I used one feature that I got from rooting, and even that I used so rarely it wasn't even funny.
Well, I think most people's purpose for rooting isn't to add features, but to remove bloatware, like the Google Play services.
Yeah, a lot of it.
I wanted to buy a Pixel 4a and then put graphene on it, so then I could remove the. The stuff.
What do you gain by that?
Removing Google Play services.
What do you gain by that?
Not having Google track me.
Google will track you anyway.
Well, you would have to change the operating system.
Not just operating system. You would have to disconnect yourself from internet in all aspects of life.
Yeah. And the carrier is still I mean, you're still going to have phone service.
Never go outside.
Yeah.
So yeah, you saying Google won't track me if I delete Google Play services from my phone is like. You still use internet, you still use Android, you still go outside, satellites, many things that are so much part of our lives. Google still will get to you.
I think there was a video series where there was a reporter that decided that she would go a whole month blocking the 4 largest tech companies in the United States from her laptop. She wound up having to get a Purism laptop and have an Etsy host file that had over 1,500 entries, just redirecting all traffic to the IP address of 0000.
Yeah.
And it basically made the internet for her unusable. She couldn't send an email because apparently their email server ran through Microsoft Exchange, for example. So she basically couldn't do her job.
Yeah, pretty much almost every modern website has some dependencies on Google.
Yeah.
Through the fonts and the analytics and just everything. It's just
very depressing that we let the internet get to this point.
Wow.
HipDad wanted to say something. He's got his hand raised. What you got, HipDad?
The thing is, you can go and get downloadable music, straight MP3s from the people that sell the albums, but they make it to where you have to jump through hoops to just find the link within their website that allows you to straight download. And that's because they make more money off of the streaming services than they do straight download, even though you're basically paying for a CD. Now, the other thing is I don't understand why there hasn't been a class action lawsuit, because here's the premise of streaming. Okay. I'm going to go into Walmart. I'm going to go in and I'm going to buy a CD, a DVD, and I'm going to go pay for it with cash. I have the physical hardware in my hand. I go to walk out and the greeter says, no, you have to leave the DVD and the CD here because you can only watch it and listen to it when you're in Walmart. That's the basic premise of streaming.
No, it's not. That's a false. And first of all, there is no reality in which streaming would get a class action. You're actually not paying for the song. You're paying actually for specific playing of the song. You pay that you played it once. You pay for that. You pay for for unlimited playing of any number of songs, but you technically still pay for each listen of the song, because that's how they take it on their side.
Well, that's how the streaming services. That's how radio stations. You've got to pay a fee to.
They pay everything.
Kind of feels like it kind of feels like they took playing music and then added some ongoing cost for them to make it seem like they're doing a service for you.
No, they actually what they did was they took the whole system of playing music, buying CDs, buying vinyl, whatever, whichever crap you were into. All of them are crap. And added on top of it the fact that it's not on your device or it's not locally to you. So, and they gave you the whole library, the whole smack.
Max, you got something to say? Max got his hand up.
Yeah. So there is this quote-unquote streaming service, which is not really a streaming service, but you can buy files of your music 100% legally. It's called Cobos. It doesn't work in many countries, but in America, for example, France, UK, it works. And it's like not like Bandcamp where you have some small indie authors, but you have big names if you like.
Well, when you say downloading files of the music you purchase, I mean, I haven't done this lately, but I bought music albums off of Amazon before, and you just download the files locally to your machine.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I didn't know Amazon did that. I thought it was all Amazon Music now.
Oh no, you can still buy albums, and it's DRM free.
That's cool.
Like I said, I haven't done it lately, but I used to. I've got a very large library of music.
I still walk into Dollar General, and I can still buy CDs from Dollar General.
Right.
Yeah.
I
use 7 Digital for all my stuff because they've got FLAC. But I don't know.
Yeah, and typically, that's what you want. I mean, if you're going to download music that you purchase, you definitely would like it FLAC rather than MP3, because MP3 is so badly compressed. It's not a.
Or you can just download from the artist directly. Sometimes they do that too. They self-publish.
It's
there's some of my favorite artists are on Bandcamp, and so you can buy it directly, and Bandcamp takes a small fee, but it's less than the big record labels.
And some of them I bought like FLAC.
When you're listening to US or more like US, UK, French musicians, it's easy. You have a lot of choice. But when you are playing or listening to stuff like what I listen to, which is Slovenian, Croatian musicians, you don't find that everywhere. You find it on major streaming sites, and that's it. You find it on YouTube, you find it on Spotify, you probably find that on iTunes, and you find it in your local store a CD. I'm not gonna buy a CD because, in my opinion, CDs are trash unless you're using them in a hermetically sealed environment for backup purposes.
Yeah, it's hard to find like Mongolian throat singing. Like, you're not going to find that on every streaming service. You got to look around for that.
Honestly, I think in terms of pure music selection for things that I listen to, YouTube Music has actually been the best.
Of course,
I've found because everything's on YouTube. Yeah.
But if you do not want ads on YouTube, buying YouTube Premium gets you both no ads on YouTube and YouTube Music.
There's a reason.
That's why I used YouTube Music.
There's a reason years ago YouTube started transitioning away from like normal small personal creators to, all the biggest channels are music labels, music artists. I mean, the music channels dominate YouTube now.
Been like that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Vivo has always dominated YouTube,
and that's where YouTube makes their money.
Well, the big change was when they started pushing, traditional media outlets.
Mm-hmm.
That's what really made people angry.
Right. I don't need to see the same thing that I could watch on cable on YouTube. Like, I could turn on my TV for that if that's what I wanted to do.
Speaking of TV, have you seen how expensive YouTube TV has gotten lately?
Oh, tell me about
I
it.
don't use it.
Yeah.
Well, my
What-
parents are
We
wanting
don't
to
have it
switch.
here, so I don't know.
My parents are wanting to switch because we have like we had Comcast, and you already know how bad that's gonna be.
Oh yes, I know.
And yes, we have AT&T fiber now, so we've gotten a little bit away from it. But they wanted to do YouTube TV, and it's like, what is it? It's like $60 a month or something like that for like the base package
Ugh.
for like 5 TVs or something like that.
That's crazy.
That's
It's like
somewhat
insane.
expensive. That's
Hold
I
on,
wouldn't say
let me
that's
let
insane.
me fact check myself here for a second. No, sorry. It is $72 a month. It looks like yeah,
It keeps going up.
72.99 a month for your first 3 months. Oh no, sorry, $62.99 a month for your first 3 months, then $72.99 a month after. And it's only like, what is it? It's like, it says 100 plus, so I'm gonna assume it's like less than
101.
200. Yeah, 101, 105, something like that.
Uh,
That's insane.
That's
I
stealing.
wouldn't.
That's borderline stealing from you.
But well, here's the question: is there a limit on how many boxes you can put it on?
I have no idea on that.
Well,
3 streams, 6 household accounts, and 3 streams.
Now every single
yeah,
smart TV
probably three
comes with
streams.
Roku built in, right? So why would you just
Yeah, I don't know.
buy a Netflix account, a Hulu
I know,
account?
right?
Just
Well,
I do
not
want to say this though.
necessarily.
I'm looking at the base plan for YouTube TV, right? And it says unlimited DVR space. I thought Google had learned their lesson in the whole offer unlimited storage for a flat monthly fee, but it appears
I may or may not have a Google Drive account that has 18 terabytes worth of data.
Oh, my friend's got an.
I can't upload anything to it, but I can certainly download it.
I've got a G Suite account. That's like an old G Suite account because my friend had a G Suite like tenant like 2012 or whatever, and when it was like before, like when it was G Suite, not Workspaces, and I have like, I don't know, probably 30 or 40 terabytes of just backups just uploaded to Google Drive. I just back up to my server, and then my server slowly seeds it up to just slowly uploads it all to Google Drive for like long-term storage. So yeah, no, they're definitely losing money.
The biggest problem with my archive is that I encrypted it with duplicity, which that's just cancerous because I can't use a modern version of duplicity. I have to roll back to a version of duplicity that was last updated about 3.5 years ago. Thank goodness I can do that with Flatpak.
speaking of storage, Josh mentioned storage, and I read something the other day that just shocked me, that somebody was selling a 14 terabyte hard drive now for $120. And I was like, that is crazy cheap. And then I did some looking into it to see if I wanted to purchase this thing. This company that was making this 14 terabyte hard drive for $120 doesn't even have a website. So I'm like, yeah, this doesn't sound like something I want. It's like it's not Western Digital, it's not Seagate, right?
There are. I just bought a bunch of I think they're recertified, but I paid $120 and they're HGST drives. They're 14 terabyte HGST. These are WD Ultrastars.
Okay.
They're the data center H3 530s. They look like they're still on sale on Amazon here, and this is like
data center drives have actually gotten really cheap lately.
Oh yeah, I was about to say.
And that's just simply because data centers aren't buying right now.
Yeah.
That's one reason. The other reason is because the catch with all of this is that cost to make a drive is essentially almost the same, whether it is 10 terabyte, 1 terabyte, or 20 terabyte. It's practically the same. Which is what's the point in why the prices are getting low really quickly in all of it, because
aren't most data centers going to SSDs too for a lot of things?
I mean, kind of. I mean,
kind of, but you still get the cost efficiency of it.
Right, that's the problem. Is it's so much cheaper. Like the price per terabyte is so much lower.
If you have a JBOD that has 120 disks all running in RAID 0, that's still going to be wicked fast.
Well, no, but that's not okay. Well, that's not really the metric, because I run a small hosting company and I've co-located servers. The biggest metric is IOPS, disk IOPS.
Yeah.
For virtual machine workloads, disk IOPS is crazy. And the disk IOP comparison between mechanical disks, even in RAID, at the same speed versus, RAID 0 NVMe SSDs or something like that. Again, I run RAID 1 NVMe SSDs, but like the difference between, a 12 bay like JBOD with 14 terabyte Seagate Exos drives and 2 terabyte NVMe SSDs in RAID 1 is insane. Like the disk performance for virtual machines, it tanks so hard.
Question is, what are you targeting? What are you making? If you're doing virtual machines, yes, you're gonna have everything.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Even though reality is for most use cases, AGD is enough.
It depends, but for data centers though, you've got IOPS are a big virtual machines are a big workload in most data centers.
Okay, which use case it is? Of course, you shouldn't have virtual machines on the same system that you have storage. That's first problem you should solve if you're doing that. Reality is, if you actually are doing like a proper deployment, depending on what you're doing, hard drives are still better than SSD. Specifically mass storage. Whether it be backups, whether it be some sort of object storage, whether it be mass file storage, or let's say basically SMB shares or NFS shares, whether it be some sort of other sorts of mass storage. If you don't need hundreds of megabytes of file access per second.
Well, it's not as much about the speed as it's about transactions per second.
Not always. If you're doing something like, I don't know, object storage,
that's fair. That's fair, but object storage makes up for a very little amount of, I think, data center workloads.
No, for data center workloads, yes. For storage amount, no.
Yeah,
that's kind of the point. How much storage? How much of your data center is object storage? That's the question. Not how much workload it is, but how much of your square footage space it is. Where it becomes very, very, very lucrative to use hard drives with SSD burst buffers. That's kind of the point. You have basically a SAN with cache.
Yeah.
With
like layered caching. Yeah. So it does the IO operations on the SSD and then slowly migrates them to hard drives.
That's ultimately, I kind of regret my decision of buying 20 hard drives last year when I could have bought 20 hard drives for so much cheaper this year.
Oh, you got hit by the Chia, by the Chia miners?
Yeah, I got hit by the Chia miners, but at the same time, I was deploying a fresh new backup server that
I regret everything I bought like 2 years ago. Like all of it's half price now. Like
yeah,
you remember when RAM was like crazy expensive?
Oh no!
And now they're practically giving it away.
I regret buying my desktop last year.
I'm so happy that I bought my desktop 3 months ago.
And I'm not sad about all the other components. Except the graphics card. Graphics card was super expensive, and
the graphics cards are still kind of expensive, but they're not like they were.
But
no, they're
the lower GPUs have gone down a lot. Like I got my desktop in the other room running an ARC.
But they haven't gone down to the point where they were 6 years ago.
Well, I mean, I've got a machine in the other room that's got an RX 580 in it, and I bought that thing brand new in box from my local Best Buy, and it was in stock for like $119. And it's an 8 gig RX 580, and it's the XFX OC version.
I have 3060 Ti, and it was probably, I think it was like 30% more than it is now.
But yeah, you got screwed when you were buying, when I was buying, like 2 years ago, I was buying 2133 megahertz ECC DDR4, and I was paying like $3.50 to $4 a gigabyte.
Oh.
And just getting absolutely destroyed, and now that stuff's like less than like $1.25 a gig.
It's crazy. Less. Yeah, the RAM prices were so high.
RAM just tanked so fast.
You buy when you need.
I am this close to redeploying my my lab server on all solid state because the prices are almost there.
Do you want to hear about cheap solid state? Look at U.2 drives.
I know.
Old enterprise U.2. Holy.
Problem
Dude.
is that then getting the proper enclosures for U.2 is expensive.
Well, I think Dell made an R730, and I think their 730 10 bay, I think, has 4 U.2 bays on the front. I know Supermicro's got some that aren't expensive either. But U.2 drives, I think my friend was showing me like a $100 3.7 something terabyte U.2 drive on eBay.
Those things are
well. That would be good for Josh as far as his server racks. I mean, obviously he needs some place to put the drives, but how would he connect those to all his Raspberry Pis? Because that's all he runs.
It's called.
Actually, there's only one Raspberry Pi inside the house. All the other Pis are out in the field.
I cannot believe it.
Oh, here we go.
You're
A
lying.
30.72 terabyte Intel NVMe U.2 drive, and it's only like $2,800, which is like that is
only like
perfect.
Yeah, it's only like
Perfect. I need two.
Hear me out. For 30 terabytes of storage, that is surprisingly cheap.
Those things are beasts.
I paid $1,000 a year and a half ago for a 4 terabyte FireCuda.
Yeah,
Whoa.
here's a P4510 4 terabyte U.2, and it's $279. Yeah, U.2 drives are just so cheap.
Well, I'm happy I got my 1 terabyte. I think it's 1 terabyte, or it could be 2. I don't know. Samsung drive for cheap last year, for fairly cheap.
What's considered fairly cheap?
For me, it was 100
I standardized
Euro or USD?
euro.
Okay.
Yeah, in the chat, 7803 gig. What is a good email service for sending out automated emails for things like notifications, password resets? I guess he's wanting his web server to send out automatic emails.
Depending on what you're using.
Postal.
Managed service.
Postal was a self-hosted software. Hold on. Postal email server. I believe that's what it was called. Yeah, here we go.
Yeah,
Postal.
I think so too. Postal transactional mail.
Yes, it's fantastic. And I think
but you have to set up all the DKIM and crap yourself.
Yeah, I mean, there's other ones. I know a couple of years ago I used a site called Mailgun. I forget what I was using it for something similar. He says he was using Gmail, but now they won't let him do such a thing. Yeah, I mean, obviously Gmail is going to complain about spam. Yeah, I guess essentially
it depends on how much email you're sending. Yeah. Because I use MX Route for my personal email, and it's pretty good. And they've got open SMTP, so you can send emails like that. It just depends on how much quantity. I think they limit you to like it's either 70 or 300. I'm not sure emails per day.
If you plan on getting any kind of traffic at all, yeah, you're going to have to go with a real service. One of these.
I always like SendGrid, but that may be my bias because I got it in GitHub Student Pack. So they gave me like a bunch of credit.
SendGrid is pretty cool, yes. If you're in cloud like AWS has a good service for that.
I think Cloudflare actually supports that stuff, something like that.
Do they now?
Yeah, they do, but only in quite expensive premium packages. Which are nice and useful in certain cases, but I wouldn't purchase a Cloudflare
if you have a proper
account for a mail server.
If you don't have anything against Jeff Bezos and Amazon SES has never failed me. SES is fantastic. I can say nothing but good things about SES.
Even their
it's dirt cheap. It's dirt cheap. It's very reliable. I've never had a single SES email ever go to spam. I've always used SES.
Why would any of us have a problem with Bezos and Amazon? I'm pretty sure all of us probably use Amazon S3.
At this point, where the last actual retail outlet in my village closed.
We're not talking about the retailer, but all of us have an S3 server. Let's be real.
Hey, I still host my S3 server. I don't know what you guys are talking about. I run my own.
Yeah, I wrote my own object storage server.
Yeah. Wasabi, though, I've started moving some of my stuff to Wasabi, and it's an S3 compatible server, but it's $7 a terabyte with no ingress or egress fees. So it's very cheap, and it's also very fast.
Most of my storage is actually on top of my own object storage server.
Well, Amazon has done a good job at really dominating that space where it seems like Microsoft now is transitioning toward AI. So let's talk a little bit about this AI thing, because now it's like people see that this is not going away. It's not a fad. And already Google is developing whatever Bard or whatever they're going to do. And Meta is going to be all in on AI pretty soon.
Meta has Llama. So
I may or may not have fed.
We're going to have social networks of AI. You're going to be able to actually be friends with AI personalities on these social networks.
It's already happening. There's like this app that I saw that's like, I assume it's big in Japan because the ad was in Japanese, but it was it's like an AI girlfriend thing. I'm like, this is gonna be the downfall of society.
You can buy that. You can buy that from the iOS App Store for $2.
And I have AI girlfriends.
Yeah,
I have
AI
a feeling.
girlfriends. Yeah,
I have a feeling
this will be the end of the human race.
Oh yeah,
I have a feeling this chat room all falls on the list of not useful idiots.
You know who I blame this on? I blame this on Cortana and Siri, because they've trained people to talk to these fake female voices for so long. I mean, it's just a natural progression that.
No,
Google Assistant too, honestly.
Oh yes, Google Assistant.
Nobody knows how to talk to a real woman anymore. I mean,
I guess you could also say that Bixby also did that.
I'm not gonna go into the waters of that.
For the whole 4 people that used Bixby.
Maybe that's why Mycroft failed.
Yeah. Well, that
was the problem.
Mycroft was so promising, dude.
It was.
It is so promising.
It's just
reality is that AI is not going anywhere, and that's a problem. And I have a feeling that this whole group that's here is probably on the list of not useful idiots, which is a term for those who useful idiots is a term for those who help AI get.
All right, they're going to get smarter by mining certain people, right?
Are you referring to the thought experiment?
First die from AI.
Are you referring to Roko's basilisk?
Something like that. Basically, useful idiots are those who help AI get to where it will be in a few years, and not useful idiots are those who will die because they didn't.
It's a thought experiment that says, like, AI's gonna get to power, so we might as well help it get there, because if we don't, then it's gonna punish us for not helping it get there.
Oh, I do these. I have already accepted I'm on the list of dead people, so I just want to see the world burn first.
I have a bucket of water near me all the time. So
yeah, eat this, robots. Just douses them in water. Wait until they make these AIs IP67 waterproof. Okay, then we're in real trouble.
Problem is
we're getting the RPGs out, guys.
Well, the problem, AI, I mean, the people that it wants to mine are going to be the people that hang out on social media, and we're not that crowd. We're not the kind of people to just put everything out there on the internet for the world to see. The free and open source crowd's typically not that kind of crowd. Penguin Revolution.
Yeah, well, all this AI stuff is making me think of the movie I, Robot.
Oh no!
Vicky takes over the world.
Will Smith.
I mean, that's where we're heading. It's Vicky taking over the world, and instead of
honestly, take all AI scare movies and forget them. It's nowhere near reality. Wanna know why? Because by the time AI gets to the level of power, it will already think of ways to kill us that we won't be able to see. So think of Terminator with all the giant liquid metal robots. That's not a thing. It's gonna be a tiny robots you couldn't see that will just kill us. And
it's gonna be nanobots.
Yep.
Yes.
They're gonna put it in gas and then, like, I don't know, like put it in the air, and then we're gonna breathe them in.
No, they're gonna put it in the food. It's gonna be in the plants. It's gonna be in everything.
By the technological evolution so fast, we will just be over by the time we even think about defending ourselves. It will be over.
Now, if you were a machine and you wanted to take somebody out as far as life, pretty much every living thing on the planet requires water. So all you got to do is take care of that, and the planet's yours at that point.
Honestly, just sign up for a Twitter account and just follow Chaos GPT because that AI's one goal is to destroy humanity.
I hope I didn't give AI any ideas. Right now, they're probably poisoning the waters.
I don't know. You're streaming this on YouTube. You're streaming this on YouTube, so this is going to be publicly archived. You know, AI's going to come look back at it.
Reality is that AI will be able to create so much more ingenious way than even we think about, because reality is what AI would want is targeted killing, not actually untargeted. Problem with water is that it's fairly untargeted. Everybody can get hit. If you have nanobots, you can kill just the people who you want to kill.
Yeah.
Oh man, this is gonna be Portal all over again.
Yeah, Matthias says it's easier than the water. He says just do a nuclear launch. That will not work because no matter what, life will survive. The cockroaches will survive. They'll eventually evolve into something that the machines would have to take care of later. No, the water is what you got to go after.
No, what you have to go after is specific people, because reality is that AI at the end of the day feeds on data. It needs data to really be useful. And who is great at generating data? Humans. But you need to remove humans that don't work with you. So not useful idiots.
The ones that are off grid. That's the first ones you target.
Not useful idiots. Goodbye. So this server will go bye-bye.
Well, let's talk a little bit about Linux distros that were released this past month. Obviously, we had the big Ubuntu releases. I'm sure all of us have tried some of them. I know Big Pod has probably tried Mate.
No, I've got a little story about Ubuntu.
Go ahead.
Well, on Friday, I decided to try and upgrade my Ubuntu 22.10 to 23.04, and it completely broke my machine. Like,
always will.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, I have an old NVIDIA card. It's an NVS 4200, which uses NVIDIA 3090, and you cannot have Wayland installed with that driver. And what it did was it pulled down the GNOME desktop with Wayland and completely broke my.
Yeah, it defaults to Wayland now. Yeah, I mean that's.
And I'm just like.
You're gonna have to do a different desktop environment essentially.
Well, 23.04 is an interim release. That's where Canonical is willing to actually ship a product that actually breaks things.
Yeah.
Well, they're doing Wayland on the interim releases to get it ready for the next.
For the eventual LTS, because one way or another, it is coming.
Yeah, GNOME is gonna default to Wayland on the next 24.04. Like that's happening. So they might as well push it out now so people can report the bugs.
Yeah, but the thing is, I didn't even have the GNOME desktop installed. I had Ubuntu Unity. It should not have pulled down GNOME, but it did anyway.
So then you have certain what's called certain dependency.
Yeah, there's a meta package that pulled all that down.
And the thing is, the Ubuntu team and Ubuntu Unity said that should not have happened because I didn't have GNOME installed. So they're looking into the problem.
Yeah. Does Ubuntu Unity use Nautilus as the file manager? I know Nautilus used to.
No. They don't.
They removed it. Okay, because that might have been the problem.
Yeah. No. They actually use Nemo, I think.
No. Okay.
So they
that's a good choice.
Out, so they didn't have that problem.
Okay.
I'm curious.
Yeah, I completely broke it. Then I tried Arch. Arch doesn't play nice with my video card either, so I had to go back to Ubuntu.
Yeah, if you need an old driver, Arch is not where you want to be.
No, because
that's Debian probably is where you want to be if you're looking for something that's a little older.
The thing with Arch, NVIDIA does package it for you, but you have to get it from the AUR, and it's not a complete driver, and it does not support the specific code I have.
Yeah, you can find all the out-of-date drivers. You can find them on Arch. They just are not real packages. They are community packages people put in the AUR for themselves, like somebody else had the same problem you had. So they made their own AUR package and put it in the AUR, but it might work, it might not.
It might be worthwhile to test out the Nuvo driver because they've made some massive
For
great
all-
progress
yeah.
on that
Do that.
lately.
Yeah.
I can't do that mainly because I also do some gaming and Nuvo when you fire up Proton. So you
Which
have
GPU
to
you
have
have?
proprietary. But Nuvo does work for other things. It also works with like my hardware encoding for my channel and stuff. But when I fire up them games, Nuvo,
Which
No, you
GPU
can't. You
have?
can't game with it. You're not gonna play anything on Steam with the Nuvo drivers. That's not
No.
happening.
Which GPU
Well,
you have?
Nuvo does work with Linux native games if they're OpenGL.
I was gonna say
anything else, no.
I'm using the Nuvo drivers and I can play Proton games just fine. So, I specifically Trackmania Nations Forever, which is not a native.
What are you running though?
I'm running a Quadro M3000M.
Yeah, that's newer than mine.
What are you running?
I doubt it. What card do you have?
It's an NVS 4200. It's from 2013.
Mine's from okay, it might be a little bit newer. Mine's from 2016.
Yeah, that's
because mine's in a. I've got my main computer's a ZBook with a 6820 HQ i7. So
it's going to be hard to get a driver on a 10-year-old graphics card.
Well, yeah. But the thing is, Nvidia still does kind of support 390 because of people like us. But they're only patching it for security these days. They're not like developing anything. It's never going to have Wayland support. It's never going to have.
No.
It's never going to have any of these new Vulkan drivers.
No, you're not getting any of that.
Yeah. They're just patching it for security, just so that we don't have security holes. But the thing is, I plan on replacing this laptop within a year, because honestly, I'm getting tired of dealing with.
Well, honestly, if you wanted to run Ubuntu anyway, with that card, obviously you need something without Wayland.
Yeah.
XFCE, just install Ubuntu.
Yeah, you'll need something that's like not GNOME, because GNOME's going to be like 95% GPU utilization just sitting on the desktop.
Yeah.
I mean,
the thing is, I can't run GNOME on this thing anyway, because it's only got 512 video RAM, and when I fire up GNOME just to run the desktop, it uses 380 megabytes of that VRAM.
Good.
So I can't do anything else but run the desktop if I'm running.
Good. Gives you a reason to install the Superior Window Manager, i3.
I think you need to
I use
upgrade.
i3.
Good.
I'm using i3 right now.
Good.
I think you need to upgrade, man.
I think you need to buy a new card. Yeah, that's exactly.
Well,
okay. Is what CPU's in this? What laptop is it? Because it might be an MXM card. You might actually be able to upgrade it.
Oh no, it's not. I've already had this thing open. It's a Dell Latitude E64 series.
Oh,
I can upgrade the CPU, but the GPU soldered on.
That's what, like second or third? It's like second or third gen.
It's third gen.
Okay.
And that's probably not worth cracking that thing open and changing a CPU and a GPU. Like, go buy a new laptop at that point.
Possibly. I mean, I had a friend who got a W541 ThinkPad for like dirt cheap. I think he paid like $5 for it or something. And he put an upgraded. What was it? It's the 47 something. It's like the crazy high. Like it's only engineering sample CPU or something. That like you have to buy straight from China to get it or whatever, and he upgraded it with that CPU. It's a 4-core 8-thread 4th gen, like really fast 4th gen, and it's like you put a K3000 or something in it, Quadro, and that was a pretty good laptop for him for a couple years.
Okay, and actually to upgrade this CPU, I could go and buy an i7 62, I believe it is, and this chipset supports it. And it's a 4-core 8-thread processor, and it's only like $20 on eBay. So I'm like, I've been thinking about just doing that, just to get me by.
You could also get, because like these have gotten super cheap. It's the same generation of my laptop, but it's the 15 instead of the 17. It's the HP ZBook 15 Gen 3. and that's 6th gen 4-core 8-thread i7, and it'll take 4 DIMMs of DDR4 up to 128 gigs of RAM, and it's got 2 M.2s and 2 SATA bays.
Yeah.
It's a pretty beefy laptop, and you can find them for under $200.
Yeah. The thing is, I want an NVIDIA GPU because I want the.
These have NVIDIA. These have
They do have it.
they have Quadro M series, and they're MXM.
Yeah.
So
Okay,
you could get an M1000 cheap one,
Okay,
and then
so
put
that
an M3000 in it.
Okay, so that supports the NVENC encoder, right?
Yeah.
Because
I
mine
believe.
does not. Mine does not. And that's the major thing is I want the NVENC encoder.
Let me make sure this has it.
If you're if you want NVENC, you probably should upgrade to the newest stuff because the new
I know
NVENC
that.
is freaking awesome.
If you want like good NVENC performance, like on a budget, the ZBook 15 Gen 5, not the U, not the 15U. Yeah, the Gen 5, that's 8th gen. I think that's 80. That's like the 8750H i7. So it's a 6-core. And those have the P series quadros. It's the P1000, 1200, 2000, 3000. And those support NVENC, and they're pretty fast.
Yeah, because this particular card is 1 generation too old for NVENC.
Oh.
Yeah. It was literally just meant NVENC. And I was just like, oh crap. Yeah, but the thing is, I only got this laptop for $70. It was when I was broke.
That's a good deal.
Yeah, it was a really, really good deal. I won an eBay auction for it. And I was like, and all I had to do was put a hard drive in it. And I have like stacks of those hanging
Oh, you guys want to talk about, hold on, let me, you guys want to talk about stacks of hard drives. Let me just,
Oh, Lord. Here we go with the...
Please, examine my trading cards.
I am not going in my garage.
Yeah, I'm not going in my garage either.
I've got...
Yeah.
Have about...
I could go dig around in my closet, but I'm not going
to. Any of you have AT hard drives, by the way? I could actually use a few.
What?
No.
Yeah,
AT hard drives, fresh out of the early 90s.
No.
Yeah, I've got some.
eBay.
Go to my channel, Joshua. My contact information is there. I might. And if I do find one,
I'm just because I have this Unix mainframe system that I picked up off of a bank. They kept the hard drives for obvious reasons, but it's just like I want to see if I can get the system to work.
Yeah, well,
because I have the installation CDs for AT&T Unix.
Well, contact me because I think I do.
You know, one thing with the Ubuntu problem that Penguin had, I want to get back to that just for a second. One thing, obviously Wayland is still under heavy development, and obviously GNOME has been pushing it there as really the driving force behind it for certainly the last several years. And GNOME is really close to being ready for Wayland, and you're about to see Ubuntu and probably Debian stable at some point, you know, making that switch soon. Fedora and OpenSUSE are already there as far as GNOME and Wayland. And KDE Plasma is slowly getting there as well. But all these other desktop environments that people run has no Wayland support. Like, we're about to be in some weird territory where everybody that runs GNOME is going to be on Wayland, and everybody else essentially is going to not be on Wayland.
The thing is to support legacy
KDE
hardware.
Other than KDE, yeah.
Yeah, they're still going to have to support Xorg to support legacy hardware. If people are still using them.
So many of your programs will only work on Xorg.
Legacy hardware.
Well,
because
I'm talking about legacy NVIDIAs.
Well, he's talking about graphics cards. That won't have a new driver.
NVIDIAs like mine will never see Wayland support ever because NVIDIA is not going to add it.
To be fair, though, Linux, we've never been good at supporting older video cards. Like that's just the way it is. You're going to have to buy a new card at some point. You can't run something.
That.
Yeah.
But,
once it gets over 10 years old, it's good luck. And 15 years old, there's no way you're finding a driver.
Well, yeah, but
certain distros will go and just say old stuff we don't support.
Delete it. They just purge the repos out of all that.
We don't support it.
That's what. Yeah, but most of them will support 390 because 390 will support about 90% of the legacy codes out there.
Mm-hmm.
But anything older than 390,
I think we support 390.
Yeah, and Yasser in the chat says most window managers will have no Wayland support. Yeah, very, very few standalone window managers are built for Wayland, and the ones that are, they don't have the kind of functionality yet that GNOME.
I don't know. Hyperland's pretty good.
Yeah. Let's just talk about that for a second with some of these compositors with Wayland. So a lot of them are absolutely refusing to support NVIDIA's proprietary driver because they don't want to write for EGL streams. And NVIDIA has basically taken the stance of, well, we did all the work to support Wayland. Why can't you meet us halfway and support EGL streams instead of us having to rewrite a whole entire damn driver? I'm like, yeah, it's just like they're having this war with.
Well, I mean, we're still probably a good 10, maybe 15 years away from where Wayland is really like the standard on Linux. We're going to be
Yeah, I don't think that.
Trust me, there's going to be a lot of distros still running Xorg 10 years from now.
But I have a cold hard truth for you guys. Because Red Hat is dropping all of their support for Xorg after Rel 8 reaches end of life. So it's not going to be 10 years. It's going to be a lot sooner than that.
This is. I think he's right, because it appears as though as soon as the big distros start to move, everyone else just kind of follows suit.
Yeah, I mean, Debian is going to be the last one, the one that holds back the most, right? Debian stable. Yeah. Once Debian stable is there, then we can say, all right. Then it'll filter down to everything.
Great. That's not
Debian stable goes, everything's going to go.
Well, I don't blame
Debian stable the oldest.
I don't blame
Debian stable and RHEL are the oldest. So, if
Slackware.
Well, the thing is, most computer users have no idea what a display server is. Many computer users, they're just going to install whatever desktop environment or window manager they want to use because that's the one they want to use, and they'll never know Wayland or Xorg, right? They're just going to use what. So
I disagree. Most.
You think most users know what the display server is?
No, most users just install whatever is installed in the by the.
Well, yeah, most users are just going to install Ubuntu, but like for example, they may want to play with OpenBox and install the OpenBox.
Play with that. They won't because they don't. Most users don't play with such things. Most users just use the computer with whatever it came with. And
but you're still going to have a segment that will. That's what I'm saying. Xorg is not going anywhere. Not anytime soon.
Xorg can't.
I disagree.
Because Xorg can't because of all the X window managers.
This is like saying sys5 init is going to go away because System D, came on the scene 10 years ago. But where is sys5 init? It's still being used.
That's a standard thing.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's still going to be here.
Nothing is holding back Wayland to.
I'm not saying Xorg is going to be the most popular of the two, but it's still going to be there. People will still be using it.
Because of the
it will be around, but that doesn't mean it will be. Most people will use it, or even 90% of, 10% of people will use it. It will be few percent. Reality is, I've been using Wayland for last couple of months on my desktop, and for more than a year on my laptop. It's completely stable. There is no problem. Desktop has Nvidia card. Chef's kiss. Xorg doesn't hold a candle to Wayland. Sorry, that's the realization already.
Well, I'm not talking about merits on the technicals of it. I'm just saying Xorg will be around. Big question.
User's perspective. Perspective.
I'm actually going to disagree with Big Pod on this, and this is why. Because a lot of your file managers and a lot of other things still require the Xorg libraries.
Oh, there will be old programs. There's going to be programs that will never see an update that will never support Wayland. Now, that's just the case.
That's why I have compatibility layers.
Yeah.
Yes.
Simple as that.
Still, Wayland is nowhere perfect because, like, when I was on my other laptop, when I was using Wayland, and I'm using an X file manager and a Wayland other compatible app, if I try and drag a file there,
But Penguin,
it's not going to work.
It's the same as your video card. I said, we don't care about backwards compatibility. These programs that haven't seen an update in a decade and don't have any Wayland support, they're just going to get left behind. I mean, we break backwards compatibility in the free and open source community. We don't care.
And that's a good thing. We shouldn't be Microsoft who doesn't break it ever.
Yeah.
No, I disagree. We should be working on backward compatibility. Instead of
it's called Flatpak and App Image.
Yeah. And thanks for the super chat there, Alex, the Linux tube in the chat. I appreciate that, buddy.
But
we should work on backwards compatibility so you don't get stuck encrypting your backups to Google Drive and then have to use like 5 version old software to get it back on old OSs.
Well, I've given up on the whole idea of backwards compatibility.
My fault for using duplicity.
Standing still while everything else is going forward. That's what.
Look, all right, you never need to worry about backwards compatibility if we never update. Okay, just everything else.
Well, you have to understand what Linux and free and open source software is. We're in a constant state of beta testing. Right? We're never going to reach a state and it's going to be perfect and we're just going to stay still. No, we're going to reach a state and it's going to be good and then we're going to break it again and start all over. Yeah. That's all we do. It's a constant beta test.
And that's one of the reasons why we don't see mass adoption in.
That's a big reason.
Because people want that stable environment.
Right.
And you're not, especially if you're on a rolling release, you're not going to get it.
Yeah.
You just are not going to get it.
Yeah. That's just, I mean, it's so community oriented, free and open source software. We will never stand still. And because of that.
But I think that's kind of the same with a lot of people who have hobbies. I mean, like, I know car guys, and like, I had a friend like joining into the car community, and he was like, "So when do we know when our custom cars are done?" And my other friends were like, "They're done? What? Yeah. You're getting to the end here?" No. Right. I think it's just kind of an endless cycle. I mean, it's as a hobby, I think it's just an endless cycle of like, it'll never be perfect, and there'll always be stuff to do.
Two things we should understand.
That's software in general. Yeah. But a lot of people like that stable work environment that Windows provides, even though with Windows 11 you don't get it now because they're trying to constantly roll that forward and it's just become a
you should understand something. With Windows you can still run applications from the
90s, the 1990s. That's essentially
because that's what command prompt is. It's a DOS emulator.
Yes, I know what that. But I'm just. But the thing is, but Windows keeps that there because there are lots of enterprise solutions. Out there
because
that
they get paid for that
software from the 90s.
Simple that. They get paid for that.
Yeah, but on Windows,
there's also
they just do not run.
There's also like
a DOSBox or something like that.
I've done freelance IT work for companies still running Windows 98, Windows 2000 for like big multi-million-dollar CNC machines, right? Where the specific software. So that's the thing is that it's kind of different because like a lot of like
it's different because all of that software back then, all of it was proprietary software, which nobody can ever make a new version of it because it's all proprietary. You can't look at the source code. You can't modify it.
And they're stuck. Machines that you don't want to replace.
Nowadays, because free and open source software is so prevalent, even on operating systems like Windows, you'll see less of that going forward. But all of those companies and all those enterprises that started in the 90s, they are stuck on this ancient software that they just can't move. They can't move off of it.
I used to work factory. I used to work factory, and a lot of my machines where I was a lead at ran Windows 3.1.
Sure.
Yeah.
Because these plastic molding machines. Because I used to work for Coleman, and these plastic molding machines were some of them were from the 1950s, and then they computerized them, and the only drivers were written for DOS and 3.1, so they were running 3.1, and it was just it was hilarious because I grew up with Windows 3.1. Nobody else knew the system like I did. That's how I became a lead because I knew the system, and a lot of the new kids out there who we were trying to become leads never got it at all. And the funny thing is, the really funny thing is, they laid me off, but because I was getting expensive. But now they're complaining about the system breaking. They don't have anyone to fix it. I'm like, well, I've gone on to other things. Bye bye.
It's like the makerspace that in my city that I'm a part of. We got a donation of a massive. I assume it's probably $1 million worth, like CNC table, like a milling table. And I've spent the last couple of months trying to figure out how to get it operational again. We got an old Dell workstation machine from the mid 90s, and I've been trying to get 98 on it and get the drivers and stuff to get this thing to run, because it's just it's so expensive to replace, and you can't buy a new one.
Basically with Microsoft, one thing I learned is basically for them, if a bug has been used by people, it becomes a feature.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. And actually, that's a bad thing in my opinion.
Somebody was talking about Windows 11 earlier, and I do want to say this, just a quick little thing that I've noticed. You'd think that Microsoft would have learned from the Windows 10 rollout from Windows 7, but it appears as though they haven't with the Windows 11 rollout.
Yeah.
No, they have not. Because
I still wonder
changing that damn interface.
Well, they got to get you to update somehow.
To this day, if that Windows 11 leak, unfortunately, was actually them promoting it or an actual leak.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I still don't know.
What leak?
So there was a post on 4chan with an ISO of Windows 11 before it officially released.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah. A friend that installed that on his personal computer when he was work from home, and it didn't end very well.
No.
I was running Windows 11 on VMs months before it came out. Mm-hmm. Because, insiders programs exist.
Yeah.
I think they had it months before in insiders.
I've had to upgrade my computer to Windows 11, this one that I'm running right now, to get nested virtualization in Hyper-V on AMD. But as it turns out, I didn't need to do that. So now I'm just stuck with terrible UI, and
Windows 11 UI is okay. In my opinion,
it's like a GNOME, but with
great. The best
way more padding.
Hey, Big Pod. There's one problem that I have with Windows 11 UI that I have yet to find out if it's a resolvable problem, because I personally believe that panels belong on the top of the screen. That is the proper place where they should be. That's where they should always be.
There is no Explorer panel.
No.
There is
panel belongs either on the bottom or
no.
On the
panel belongs
side.
On the top.
No, it doesn't.
It belongs on the bottom.
You can patch it, I think.
It does not. It belongs on the top.
Panel belongs on the top, and it should be no greater than 20 pixels big.
Hold on, I have something.
This is true.
Man, this almost sounds like the single click to double click BS that people.
I think objectively speaking, just because of mouse travel, the panel, the best position for it would be the top. The second best would be the left. The third best would be the bottom, and it just doesn't belong on the right ever.
I think.
See, Unity did something right, guys.
Unity got it right.
Actually,
out of the screen.
I'm gonna let us speak about ergonomics. Proper position for ergonomics purposes for a panel is on the right. Actually, that's the most proper position for a panel if you're going for ergonomics, because your minimize and your exit buttons are also on the
should be on the left like Mac does it, which means the panel should be on the left too.
If the panel is on the left, they should be on the right. But because on Windows and most Linux desktop environments are on the right, panel for most ergonomic usage should be on the right. Whether it should be on the right is a question entirely, because I
think the folks at Microsoft would probably be open to changing, like the buttons probably should be on the left, the panel maybe should be on the left hand side of the screen too. But Microsoft, because of backwards compatibility, they know so many millions of people have gotten used to the Windows workflow over the last 30 years, right? They don't want to change.
Reality for why they have it on the bottom, because it's the most out of the way and it is most 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 of it is exposed on bottom and it's most out of the way. That's the simple reason why. That's why Mac has that what it's called, the dock on the bottom. That's why basically KDE has on the bottom, because it's most out of the way, yet it is most exposed.
I have to say that the Mac, having the dock on the Mac desktop has never made any sense to me, because if you already got the menu at the top, why not just go? You don't need the dock.
No, you don't. But then again, a lot of that could be made. A lot of that could be applied to GNOME, because they have a menu at the top as well, and they have
that's not a menu. That's just a status bar.
Yeah, let's be real. Mac OS does it a lot better than GNOME.
Yeah, no, they do.
That's true.
This is a controversial opinion, but I think I actually enjoy a lot of Apple's UI design choices, and I also enjoy their software.
I hate them.
Well, and you know why? One part is because they've spent billions of dollars and years developing it.
Yeah,
because they spend so many millions on focus groups and testing, and making minimal changes, presenting them to the users, or focus groups of users who then told them what difference to make. Of course, they're gonna have a better UI than anything Linux can make, because we don't have a single focus group ever created. So everybody creates stuff.
But Big Todd,
who needs focus groups?
Even if they did, they would never agree or even be able to finish it.
No,
not true. If
they have a mailing list, they have a focus group essentially.
Not really.
Well, yeah.
One of focus group will have 50, 20 people who you ask specific questions, who you present a specific change, and they tell you what they think about the change. Mailing lists and issues are just a wall of text that nobody really reads anymore.
Okay, so this is just going to be, I know this is going to be controversial when I say this. This is why I've always said corporations need to start getting behind Linux and start testing their own stuff.
But here's the thing. But here's the thing: is they do, but then they get a lot of crap for it.
Yep.
Well, there's plenty of corporations that support Linux, the kernel.
Yeah,
I mean, Google
but
is the main driving force behind Linux.
If people keep complaining about a company, why would that company ever want to dedicate resources?
The problem is people want a big company like Google or Microsoft or Meta or some of these companies. They want them to put money behind desktop Linux. Like they want them to put money into things like GNOME and KDE. That's not what they're interested in. GNOME doesn't make Google any money. The kernel makes Google money. That's what they put all.
Well, Google has already put money in desktop Linux. It's called
Chrome OS, right? They just build their own. Why would they? Something they can control.
They already told the Linux community what they thought of them when they built Chrome OS.
Yeah.
Right, baby.
But the thing is.
The thing is, the algorithm on the internet would increase the amount of times that the acronym RTFM is going to be used if everybody was able to use Linux.
Yeah. But the reason why I say corporations need to start developing their own experience is it would really help those other people who are looking for a standardized experience coming to Linux.
Oh,
if they're having a tested environment.
Google created a standardized experience.
And Chrome OS is
Chrome OS is a standardized experience. Android is a standardized experience. I mean, they did it.
Can I raise you a canonical in Ubuntu? Because that's literally what they tried doing.
Red Hat and OpenSUSE.
Yeah.
There you go.
But the thing is,
or SUSE.
The thing is with Red Hat, that is a very, very specific use case with enterprise. But I'm talking about what Chrome OS is. It is a great tested Linux experience, and it is done very, very well because it is tested. They have their focus groups. They have everything together because the new user can understand it. But with something like a GNOME, if you're on rolling GNOME, everything's going to change in the next 3 months.
And you shouldn't be on a rolling gnome. You shouldn't be on a rolling gnome.
I know that, but
99.99999 and many more 9% of Linux users shouldn't be on a rolling release distro. Should be on a point-based release distro, or whole number. It's like Fedora, like Ubuntu, like Red Hat, like Debian, and not on a rolling list. If you're on a rolling list and you're a normal user of Linux, you're probably doing it wrong.
Exactly. One thing I do want to bring up with the Chrome OS thing, because I saw a story a week or two ago about all of these school districts now having to replace their Chromebooks because they break after 2, maybe 3 years, and it's costing some of these school districts millions of dollars, where if they would have just bought the more expensive alternatives, MacBooks, those things last forever, and it's starting to become apparent going cheap with the Chromebooks is not the best idea.
You should. We're talking children. We're not talking 20-year-old adults. Of course, you're gonna have broken laptops. Of course, you're gonna have
chargers and all that.
But have you ever picked up one of those Acer Chromebooks? I mean, they feel cheap.
All right.
Yeah, but
hold on.
Who cares?
I'll say this. I work in education IT as an intern right now, and the things we see on very well built like ThinkPads and Dell laptops is horrifying.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like, I've watched kids in my classes put pencils on the keyboards and smash the it's like just smash down the lid as hard as they can, trying to shatter the screens.
Yep.
Okay. I've seen kids think that they're convertibles and try and flip them backwards and break it at the hinges.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've
seen so much stuff.
Well, a lot of those parents in those schools, some of them will put down some kind of deposit.
Yeah, I mean that's a discipline issue. That's not a.
On a lot of the ThinkPads back in the day, you could actually just replace the keyboard without having to replace the main board as well as the battery, because the battery is soldered onto the main board as well as the CPU that's soldered onto.
Yeah, but you're assuming that the IT department in that school district is even going to do that.
No,
a lot of them
they won't.
If it breaks, we send it to the Quad Center, and then the Quad Center fixes it. And if they can't fix it in like 10 minutes by replacing a screen or whatever, then it's just e-waste.
Well,
they harvest it for parts and then replace it with a new
Let's
one.
be clear. Honestly, with these kind of computers, when it's for them to buy it $90, it's actually cheaper to go and just buy a new one than actually go and have someone who has the knowledge and time to fix it.
Yeah,
it basically makes less sense for you to fix that kind of computer when you can just buy in next bulk. You buy thousand.
Well, there is the problem of the e-waste it creates if you're constantly churning through these Chromebooks. Like it's just billions of these devices just ending up in our landfills.
Yeah, the beneficiary is Chrome. They're making tons of money off of kids just trashing these little laptops.
But that would happen if you had Chromebooks or any kind of laptop, because there is no point in buying expensive laptops because kids will destroy them. That's simple reality. So it's much better to buy.
Pencil.
Yeah, exactly.
Just buy all the students' tough books. That's the solution.
Yeah. Well, it is a problem. It's more of you got to fix the kids more than fix the books.
No.
Let them write on pen and paper. This is the only way to not break their stuff. And then when they get older, give them maybe a laptop.
Give them pencil and paper.
Well, see, that's the thing.
A number 2 pencil.
Well, see, that's the thing is that a lot of these programs started in the high schools, and then they kept trying to make it earlier and earlier and earlier. Well, they got to figure out where their loss point is. They have to study it and find out where that curve is.
Well, you would think high school kids would be old enough to respect stuff that they're not.
That's funny. That's really funny.
Owned by the kids. These are devices owned by someone else. So they already have less respect for them.
Yeah, exactly.
They don't care. And most districts.
That's the thing is with workplaces. When I was working in IT with workplaces, people tend to trade something that isn't theirs, that they're not spending the money to replace, like the S word. I'm like, literally, they're going to abuse it because they don't have to pay for it. But
of course.
Yeah.
And that's why business grade laptops are better quality, because they know people are not going to take care of them like it was their own hard-earned money going into it.
Well, yeah.
And
I mean,
I will say this.
Yeah.
Our district specifically, it's on per school discretion whether to charge kids for laptops, because our district, I guess, has some low income schools that that would be a problem or something. But there is a middle school in our district that does charge everyone for laptops, and their laptop breaking return rate is shockingly low compared to everyone else.
Exactly.
If you force the kids to pay for it and say you're not graduating unless you pay for it, then they will treat them very well. But if you don't hold them accountable, they'll just destroy them because they don't care.
Exactly.
I'm going to tell you what needs to happen. It's not that laptops need to be given out by school. Laptops should be like books. You don't go grab a notebook. School doesn't give you a notebook and just pay for that notebook. Parents and kids go to the store and buy the notebook. So it should happen the same with a laptop. They should go to the store, buy a laptop. That way, kid will have the idea that it was their parents who bought them, and it was they who chose them. So they will have a...
No, it's not like
well,
that, trust me.
The problem is that you can't do that.
The
problem is that in the US that does not work. Because we've got there are okay. In my high school there are there are a shocking amount of people that I think would not be able to just go out and buy a computer like that.
No.
Like that is a problem in a lot of districts in the US that's just a big problem. That they just wouldn't be able to. So you just wouldn't have a computer for school.
Exactly.
You can't really do that.
It could be a let's call it a pretend store, if you know what I mean. It needs to be an experience for them.
They just need a down payment. They don't have to buy it outright. Just pay something, even if it's $1. Paying $1 is different than paying nothing.
The point is, kid need to see the purchasing experience. The point that kid has experience with that. It's not the point that kid actually
how it should be done.
They feel that they go through that experience. That's
how it should be done. Is that you pay for the computer when you start school, and then when you end school and you return the computer, you get the money back.
Yeah.
The computer costs $100. Here's $100 that the parent pays to the school holds on to it, and if the laptop comes back not damaged at all, then they give the $100 back to the parent, and then it's all good. That's how it should be done.
Or at least in my school district, they have I think it's $200, and for my goddaughter, we have to pay. Her mother pays it, but $100 deposit, and if it comes back broken, she has to cover it. But if not, she gets that $100 back. And man, with that, we watched that laptop like a hawk with her, because we're like, no, you are not breaking this.
Yeah.
Some schools around computers.
Well, some schools they only they check them out in school. They can't take them home.
Right.
Yeah.
And
you could have that. You could have it. You go to the library, use it while you're there, and then you got to turn it back in. I mean, that's...
So the problem with that is if it becomes homework or you don't get it done in the day, well, then you're just screwed when you have.
Well, they adjust the curriculum accordingly, and so some stuff is done at home that may not be on the computer, and then they give them time during class to do it.
What would be a really smart idea that I wish more people would adopt, like more districts would adopt, is these computers are going to get destroyed anyways, right? We all know this. They're going to get destroyed. So eBay is littered with companies getting rid of Chromebooks and upgrading and cycling all of these machines. But all of these districts buy everything new, which contributes to the e-waste problem, when it would be very easy to just be like, let's just buy our entire fleet of Chromebooks for so much cheaper, saving us a bunch of money while reusing pre-used computers then recycle them.
There are other reasons. I don't think that...
There are administrative red tape problems with that.
Yeah, I know.
Deal with.
I know.
Again, it becomes more expensive. And
it's all about money.
Something is the last thing on their minds. Remember that.
Yeah. Well, guys, we've got about 15 minutes till the end of the stream. We got 12 people here on the stream. I know a couple of you guys wanted to speak on some things. So let's go ahead and start getting a last word from everybody. That way we get it in on time, because I'd like to keep this under 2 hours so it gets synced to Odyssey. I know sometimes that doesn't happen, but most of the time it does if we keep the stream just under 2 hours, but just over 2 hours for whatever reason, like those couple of minutes. It makes a difference.
Limit of 2 hours.
Yeah. Slendy, give us a last word.
Don't upgrade to Windows 11. Just don't.
I would have to have Windows 10 to even worry about Windows 11. I mean, I think I'll be good on that. I appreciate that. Anything else? All right. Thanks, Lindy. Erjan, you want to give us a last word?
Well, I don't know. Can you hear me at all?
We got you.
Yeah. Okay. First of all, I got to thank DT for convincing me to switch to 100% Linux. I used both Windows and Linux a couple of years ago, but now I'm totally for Arch. And I got a laptop, and a Samsung laptop from 2009. I couldn't use because Windows didn't run on it. So now I'm using Arch on it, and it's runs so smooth. So it's usable. So not a waste, as you just talking about. So thanks.
Yeah, and that's one of the biggest benefits to Linux is you can usually run it on machines that Windows struggles with. So that's any distribution and pretty much any desktop environment. Now, even the heavy ones like GNOME, they typically run a lot faster than what Windows will on that same machine. So, yeah, thanks, Ariane. Josh, give us the last word.
Well, when all else fails, just remember, guys, that after you kill your very last USB drive, as I just found out, unfortunately, I can no longer distro hop. So I guess I'm stuck on Solus for the rest of my life.
Wow. Good luck with that.
Are you unable to access Amazon on your Solus install to purchase more USB drives?
I probably can't access Amazon because Amazon is also the only retail store I have access to.
I bet you have a Best Buy within driving distance that you could go by.
The nearest Best Buy is actually 2.5 hours.
Wow.
I have to drive where
do you live?
The middle of freaking nowhere.
Obviously, yeah.
Fair enough.
2.5 hours for the nearest Best Buy. But you've got all of those Raspberry Pis.
I do.
You had them delivered?
Well, I had them delivered about 7 years ago.
All right, Josh.
You can use the micro SD. You can boot off the micro SD cards, okay?
You could.
Wait, if you've got 2 hard drives in your computer and one of them's not in use, you could write the ISO to that hard drive in a partition. And then
I guess I could pull a drive out of the server.
You could. That's exactly.
It could take a single drive missing, so I could probably just do that.
That's where I was going to go with it.
Rebuilding that RAID array is going to put a lot of unneeded damage on the drive.
It's fine. It's ButterFS. It's just a single scrub.
Yeah, ButterFS was going to destroy it anyway. That unstable file system. All right, George, give us a last word.
Well, thanks for hosting again, and it's been fun. And this seemed to go pretty quick today, and hope everybody enjoyed.
Yeah, we had a good crowd, and obviously a lot of good conversation. Yeah, so it did seem like it flew by this time, didn't it?
It did.
Well, thank you, George. Anything else?
No.
All right. Well, thanks for hanging out with us. Let's go to Stefan and his cat ears. Give us the last word, Stefan.
Appreciate the cat ears, or you mentioning them. Thanks. Thanks for the chat. Sorry for my low attendance today. I was working on the side a little bit on learning how to container Minecraft servers and
Kubernetes.
And we're gonna do some bigger orchestration there, and I need to learn about containers, I realized, but it's fine, it's cool.
Yeah, what are you doing with the Minecraft server? It's just
for communities
for fun, or are you doing it for okay?
He's making the world's most powerful Minecraft server, so that way
that's what I thought he was going to say. He's taking over the Minecraft scene.
There is an existing player base with about 1,000 people roughly, so they need just bigger machines, and they tasked me to do it. And now I have to learn about container orchestration and stuff. But aside from that, sorry.
Yeah, I had no idea that Minecraft was still that popular. You don't hear about it as much anymore.
Look, here's the one thing you need to know.
Actually, to play.
Here's the one thing you need to know with containers, okay? The H in Kubernetes stands for happiness.
I know.
There is no H.
There is no H.
I know. I know.
As a Kubernetes expert, I have to disagree. There is an H. You just don't see it.
Here we go with the containers again.
No, but
It's
aside
like
from
the
that,
friends
thanks
in
for
French.
the chat and take care
It's
of each
there,
other
but you don't read it.
and your friends.
Well, I appreciate that, Stefan, and thanks for mentioning the containers. The way you get Big Pod all excited.
I'm still waiting for Big Pod to actually start making some do some live streams where he actually explains what Kubernetes is in a form that I can understand it.
I don't think that's possible.
It's
in a video.
It's the best thing and the worst thing in the world. And there's a video I saw the other day, and it was a full Kubernetes masterclass tutorial, and it was like 50 hours long on YouTube.
I was about to say, yeah, I bet.
It's like a 50 or 60 hour video, and I was like,
Because I've seen some of those. Like, let me go see what this is all about, and I'll explain it all in one video, and the video is 5.5 hours long. It's like, nope, not watching that.
Look, Kubernetes is when you're learning it, it's the worst thing you've ever experienced. But once you've learned it and it works, it's the best thing you've ever seen. Right? It's really painful on the climb up, but once you get to the top, it's just amazing.
Right. Max, are you there, sir? Would you like to give us a last word? Max, are you there?
Oh yeah. Sorry.
Oh, that's fine.
Yeah. In certain cases, Windows is harder to install than Linux.
No, I would say in most cases. Yeah, it definitely takes longer.
No, I was trying to install it on some on a laptop with 10th generation Intel, and it didn't work. No drivers for yeah.
But it kind of makes sense because Linux distributions, I mean, their main focus is on the installer and the install process. So it makes sense why Linux would be better in that regard. Or at least easier and faster, because we work
faster. That's a questionable thing. I think on my system I install Windows faster than Linux.
I mean,
it'll depend on the packages installed. It'll depend on what kind of compression they're using.
Sometimes I swear it could take me long. It takes me less time to install Gentoo than it does Microsoft Windows using my one and only Windows.
No, that's a lie. Stop.
Now, bear in mind, my standard for like saying that a system is installed is that it is not only installed and booting on the system, but also fully up to date.
You didn't compile a kernel if it installed quicker than Windows.
I mean, by those standards, this Windows 10 installation media that I have is from day one of Windows 10. So I had to download all of those patches and security updates up to current to meet those standards, which last I tried took about 48 hours.
That does take a while. I'll give you that. Anything else, Max?
Grab a newer ISO.
Yeah, thanks for the experience. I missed 4 months of streams, and yeah, I'm finally back.
You probably didn't miss much. It was mostly talk about Raspberry Pis and JavaScript.
Oh, I wonder why.
Oh, no.
I wonder why.
Not JavaScript, no. My enemy.
Let's go to Boone. Are you there? Would you like to give us a last word? I don't know if they're there or not. They may not be connected. We'll come back, though, if they want to say something. Let's move on to Big Pod and his talk about Docker containers and the live stream he's doing later to explain Kubernetes.
I'm not going to talk about containers. Maybe a bit. We didn't talk about Fedora 38 release.
Oh, I thought you were going to talk about the rocket blowing up, but that's fine. We'll talk about Fedora.
Fedora 38 was released, and it was a fun times, must say. Thankfully, I used Silverblue, so I didn't have any problems with Mesa Free World. Yay! Oh yeah, rocket blew up. It was amazing to watch.
I can't believe we went 2 hours and just now getting the rocket blowing up. I thought that was going to be the main topic.
Yeah, And on the streaming front, I do plan to stream because I have nothing else to do since I don't have a job. So, but first I need to fix my camera. So maybe this week you can check me out on youtube.com/bigpod, and I'm gonna stream probably stuff about Fedora Silverblue, UBlueOS, and containers, Podman, DistroBox. All things you should probably check out, DP.
Yeah, I will, and I'll check out the SpaceX stream as well.
Yeah,
it was an amazing explosion.
It was.
Yeah, I think the explosion was because of a bad start, a bad launch.
Well, they said, they were going to lose that rocket anyway. It was just going to crash in the ocean after the test. So it blowing up really didn't affect anything.
The point was to gather data.
I was going to say, they're going to get so much data out of it.
And there would have been an FAA inspection anyway, so they did the best they could. And
it was cooler at blowing up than just crashing, though. You got to admit.
I'm gonna say at least it didn't make a crater where the launch pad was, like a giant one.
Right.
It made a small one, but
at least it got up in the air before it blew up.
Yeah, because if it made a giant one, that would be a problem. Although FTS didn't work as it should, that's the problem.
Well,
that's the system that saves a rocket from falling in one piece onto people.
Well, they're getting close. We're almost there with the rockets. I think pretty soon commercial space travel is going to be
everything.
We're going to have it before, at least in our lifetime. We may have that before Wayland's working. Who knows?
Fun fact.
DT, I am planning a road trip that might take me down through Louisiana. You want me to show up at you want me to show up at your place and set you up with Wayland?
No.
I guarantee you, it's not going to be nearly as broken as you think it is.
Nobody's touching my workstation that I actually make videos on. No, if it's working, nobody's touching it. Not even me.
It's fine. I have an extra ThinkPad.
No.
Look, if you can get his address, all you gotta do is install it beforehand and set it on his front porch, and then just drive away.
Well, I mean, I'd give him the address to my office, but the good thing is it has a main door and an entrance that stays locked. And
I'm sure I could convince somebody that I left my key behind.
No, they wouldn't let you in. I would make sure they wouldn't let you in.
show up with some lockpicks and see how long that lasts.
Well, thanks, Big Pod, for the last word. Let's move on to Owen and his last word.
Linux. Because
oh god, I didn't think about this. Metal as a service. Install Metal as a service. Good software.
Interesting.
It's for server. It's like it's Kubernetes, but like for bare metal, like provisioning servers through IPMI and network booting and stuff. I don't know.
Interesting.
That's what I'm setting up this week. So that's like the only thing that came to mind.
That's only something that I can run out of my closet.
Yeah.
You totally could. You just need to make your closet a little bit bigger.
I mean, that closet's almost as big as this room.
Oh, cool. Then yeah, just put a 42U server rack in there, and then fill it with a bunch of 1U R620s. Oh, cool. Then fill it with a bunch of 1U R620s, right? And then wire them all up for IPMI, and then get the passwords, and then install a mask controller, and then install a network backbone, and then set up auto networking with DHCP. And
it's so easy. I don't see why everybody doesn't do it.
Set up IPMI, and then set up auto deployment images, and then spend 5 hours fighting with Canonical, and then it finally starts working, and then you can deploy your servers.
But what if I'm in a Canonical free environment?
Oh, then I'm sorry for your loss. I'm kidding.
Red Hat CoreOS and Kubernetes.
Kubernetes. Install Kubernetes. Good. Learn Kubernetes.
Well, thanks for the last word, Owen. Oh, anything else? Yeah, go ahead.
In the words of Network Chuck, you must learn Kubernetes now.
Well, I guess if you're in that line of work, but I'll pass. Penguin Revolution, give us the last word.
Yeah, don't use old NVIDIA with Linux. It's just a pain in the butt.
Yes, it is.
But
old AMD is even worse.
Well, AMD's gotten better since they open sourced their drivers.
Yeah, but if you got old enough cars that had proprietary drivers, and you can't get them.
There used to be a time where it was more difficult to set up ATI cards than it was with NVIDIA.
Much more difficult.
Yeah, much more difficult.
Yeah.
But other than that, more videos are coming out on Penguin Revolution, my channel. The last video kind of pissed people off, but I don't care. but one's coming out Tuesdays, and then I'll be on a regular release schedule again. So I'll see you guys later.
All right.
Thank you, Dad.
Yeah, and obviously I want to thank you guys for being on camera with me. My last word, of course, is thanking you guys and the YouTube chat. And I should also show the names of the patrons that couldn't be here. I'm going to show a patrons like a name card here. The names have not been updated. I did not plan on doing this stream from my house today. My car broke down and I could not make it to my office. So I don't know how old these name cards are, but at least it is something. Most of these folks have been patrons for a while, so not a lot of change, but I do apologize if your name is missing. And that is all I've got. And other than that, let's wave bye to the YouTube chat and say your favorite programming language, Python.
Bye, everybody.
C#
Everything in
Script.
AT&T.
Emacs Lisp.